Today I want to talk to you about the window mirror switches. The switches failed. They're made out of plastic. They cracked, and then inside there's a whole bunch of little tiny electrical connections, and they started shorting out. So what happened, I came out in the garage, the mirror was going zzz, 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 continuously. And of course, it'll wear down the battery very quickly, but also that you could short out in here and cause a fire. So what I'm going to do, so I had to disconnect them inside the door. So what I'm going to try to do today is to use jumper cables to get the mirrors adjusted. When they were going crazy, they stopped and they were way out of adjustment. I couldn't see the road behind me. So what I'm going to try to do is adjust them and get everything straightened out. So once you get the little plate off and you pull it out, the wires, the little connectors for the mirrors, the wires go in here, and then the switches. What I've done is used a little wire tie to fasten the left and the right together, to keep them together, and then I used a piece of string to tie on there, because you don't want these to fall back in there and fall down in the door and be difficult to retrieve. Here you can see the switch and the plastic housing with the wires coming out, and there are two connectors. There's 4 wires in one of them and 2 in the other, but you can see the plastic switch itself. You can see where it cracked, and I have a wire tie. I tried to glue it and put a wire tie around it, but that was not successful. It was still shorting out inside. This is the one that broke. The other one, it totally disintegrated. The housing just broke into 20 pieces and fell apart in my hand. And on the inside, you can see the contacts. The black wire goes to the center post, and the orange wire on the top, that's the 12-volt feed. And then there are 4 contacts in there, 2 for each mirror. My car is 44 years old at the time I'm filming this, so the plastic that they made the switch from, 44-year-old plastic, and so I'm not confident that if you pay a lot of money for a used switch that's 44 years old, that it's going to be any sturdier than this one. So if you have access to a parts car and you can pick up these switches easily and inexpensively, definitely do that. But whenever you're working on anything electrical related to your Jaguar XJ6, you're going to need this wiring diagram publication. It's called Publication S57. It's available as a free download on the internet. I will put the link to it down in the description of this video. You need to be sure and look at page 3, which has the wiring color code. You can see some of them, like B for black, pretty straightforward, but N for brown, I have a hard time remembering that. So what I do is I print out the page I'm looking for, and then I take the color code this color code for the wiring, and then I write on the printout so I can tell which wire should be which color. This is the wiring diagram for the mirrors, and as you can see, the power comes in on the purple, and then this is the switch itself, and then down here in the mirror there's a motor for the vertical and a motor for the horizontal, and there are two wires. There's a green and a yellow for the vertical. And so these are the four wires that are on the connector, the one connector, and this is the ground, and this is the 12 volt positive, and those are the two wires on the other. The wiring diagrams aren't always accurate. You can see that the 12 volt power is supposed to be purple coming into the switch. But on my switch, you can see this one is the 12 volt positive, and it happens to be orange. So when you're working with the wiring diagrams, sometimes they're accurate, sometimes they're not. So I've taken the connector, the 4-pin connector, and cut it off the socket and separated it into the 4 wires. And then using a pair of jumper cables, over here on the other side, this is the 2-prong, and you recall that the black is the ground, and the orange is the power, the 12 volt positive. I taped this up just because I don't want those two to touch and short out. And then over here, I just take this and touch it to the green, and you can see on our wiring diagram the vertical motor has a green wire and a yellow wire. So if you touch them one way, the mirror goes up, and then if you switch them and do it the other way, the mirror tilts down. So that was my objective, to be able to adjust my mirrors since my switches are broken. So this switch totally disintegrated, totally fell apart, and this one is glued together, doesn't work electrically, but it looks okay. So what I want to do is I want to fill up the second hole with this so it looks okay. So I've got a little piece of 1/2-inch copper tubing, water pipe, and that fits in there. So I'm going to use a little epoxy putty to fasten the stem onto there, and then using the little set screws in the bottom right there, I can tighten it down and it'll look nice. I got it back together. The switches look nice. The door mirror is adjusted so I can see the road behind me. I'm probably going to get some questions about the walnut window sills in my car. I got them on eBay. I was told they were custom made in France. They're one of a kind, and they fit perfectly, replacing the stock window sills. Of course, I have all 4 of them, and beautiful finish. They're cut out around the door handle, and they're recessed where the window mirror switch goes in.